So moving from these documents to more of the strategy, this is a conversation that we just want to have briefly about. First off, kind of choosing law schools, but really succeeding in your goal. So I see your goal as not getting into a specific law school. We work with too many students that end up not going to law school because their goal was one law school. And what I mean by that is our admission rate on any given year is typically between 20 and 25%. And so if you choose a goal of, I fall in love with Texas A&M School of Law, which we love, we fall in love with the school too, and that is my goal now, is to become a law student there. It's a pretty hard goal to achieve sometimes. The real goal for you, if you're applying to law school, in my opinion, is to practice law, to serve someone, to serve a people through the practice of law. Or maybe more broadly, to use a JD degree to advance your professional career if you're not necessarily wanting to practice law. But you've got to succeed at that. And so going to law school is part of that. And you being admitted to school and going to a strong school where you feel like you'll be taught and prepared for not only the practice of law, but also passing a bar is very important. And so choosing where you apply to law school is really the beginning of all this. And having a good range of schools is a really good strategy to make sure you're successful at getting into school, but broaden that successful at that end goal. And so where should you apply is once again, a long conversation. We'd be happy to talk more with you about that. But one of the places that I would like for you to start is called the ABA 509 report. And so all law schools are required to submit this report. It's a very easy report to find for all of the schools that you're interested in. And there's a lot of data on that report, but one of the things I want to point out for you is the medians. And so medians are not everything. You're going to, and when I say medians, I'm talking about an LSAT median and a GPA median for an incoming class. All law schools are going to have those numbers reported. And this is a way for you to get an understanding of what that most recent incoming class looked like. Medians are not minimums. You do not have to have both a LSAT and GPA median at that school to receive an offer. There's actually a very few number of students at any given law school that have both of that law school's medians. Typically a law school class, just because of how medians work, is something like 40% has the LSAT median but doesn't have the GPA median, 40% has the GPA median but not the LSAT median, then 10% might have both, and 10% might be below both. And so first consider, maybe you don't have an official LSAT test yet, but what are your practice tests looking like, and where is your GPA at? So if you look at the list of schools you're interested in and you are above both medians of all of your schools, that probably means you're going to get a lot of admission offers and have some options, but it also might mean that you're not stretching yourself on what schools you should be considering. If all of your schools you're looking at, you're below, both of your numbers are below all of the medians, then you're going to have a really difficult time receiving an admission offer from those schools. We're all going to have holistic review processes, and we're going to get into review in a little bit. But just statistically speaking, this is a way to kind of, from the very beginning, consider what schools to be looking at. And so I like to encourage students to consider applying to a range of schools. I do not encourage any student to only apply to one school. Some students might be geographically bound, and I understand that. Hopefully, if you're in a place like where A&M is in North Texas, there's a couple of schools in your area. But if you're passionate about becoming a lawyer and practicing law, then you might need to broaden your reach of where you're looking at for law school. And so where should you apply and how many schools should you apply to? I'm not going to give you a number of how many schools to apply to, but I like to see students applying to 3 or more schools and applying to a broad range of schools that are going to give you opportunities to get offers, as well as considerations of scholarships, so that once we begin talking about making your decision here in a little bit, you'll actually have a harder time because you have a range of options to choose between.